Happy Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to the Law Show. My name is David Helm. I am a licensed practicing attorney in Michigan. We shall have day 4 of the Letecia Stauch case, or day 14. Oh my God, day 4. That would be horrible to go back and know what we're at. Welcome everybody looking at the chat. Yes, so I do have, it's not really a second channel. It's my law firm's channel, Helm Law. And we are, I didn't even upload it. Shoot. So what I've been doing is streaming the court's direct feed into that and then trying to use it to stream here. And it hasn't been terribly successful. However, it does give us a nice clean, crisp image of Letecia like today. So that's what she looks like. And so I've been telling people to go over there if you want a clearer picture of what she looks like. I've really got it trained on her, especially with the mental health professional on the stand. I thought that would be appropriate. So, and I know Jugman sent me a message and I thought I downloaded it and then was going to upload it here and I can't find it. So anyways, we'll get her off the screen. I'll find it, Jugman, the image. She had a message in the chat and much like Mo's, I missed it. And so I wanted to bring it back up again because I thought it was funny and very important. So hello all. There is a, yes, if you're not in it, by Franz or whoever. What's funny is that people have different names. So some people I know by different names, depending on if they're in YouTube chat or on Facebook after dark. So I get that confused. Speaking of, I have a wonderful video. So Junie B. Jones, we all know her as our resident expert in this case, researcher. She has all the answers. She saw the video clip of Letecia and she believes she does it better. She actually sent me a video. So I told her we would post it and watch it. And so this is Junie B. Jones with somebody else. And they think they can dance better than Letecia. So we'll let the chat decide.
Boob job. Oh, what's so bad?
Hey, y'all crazy bitch, but you're so good I'm on top of it when I dream. I'm doing you all night. Scratches all down my back to keep me right on. Hey, y'all crazy bitch, but you're so good I'm on top of it when I dream. I'm doing you all night. All down my back to keep me right on.
All right, so you guys be the judge. Who did it better? Okay. We also have, oh, hey, Jimmy.
What was that?
What are you judging? Did you watch?
Oh, I just caught the Tisha video again.
Okay, so we have Junie B. Jones sent me a video of her dancing. And we were judging her compared to crazy ass Letecia. And so here's Junie. Oh, I was muted. So Junie or Letecia? Oh, now you're muted.
Good Lord. I said, which one was Junie?
The one in the blue.
Oh,
I forgot I was muted when I played this. I feel like I hear a dog.
yes.
Dork wears a backpack at a club. Was she wearing a backpack? Oh, I got to go back now.
She was.
Hey, y'all crazy bitch, but you're so good I'm on top of it when I dream. I'm doing you all night.
Yeah, she's got a backpack. Who wears a backpack to the club? Junie. I see a lot of votes for Junie. I kind of suppose the answer.
Junie.
Yeah. Monica, how are you? Put up a poll, Dave. Okay, yeah, I can do that. I'll put up a poll. And I will get to that because I got to open another screen. It won't let me do it from StreamYard. Of course, you know that'd be too easy. Wait, somebody voted Letecia over Junie? There we go. All right, we got one vote for Letecia. All right, so and I said we were going to do it because we don't have that many new listeners. If we get some more people that are new to this, I do want to pull up. I have her first interrogation video when it gets to the good part. So we might pull that up in a minute. And then there was something else I wanted to show, and I can't remember what it was. Anyways, I'm having fun with these. I get all kinds of stuff when. Oh, this is what. No. Oh, yeah. Okay. So someone put together a montage of Letecia and the judge scolding her. So I thought that would be fun, and I'd pull that up real quick.
Waving your hands around, trying to stretch your fingers out, and leaving one of them more prominent than the other. Those acts would be, in my opinion, disrespectful to the proceeding. It's disrespectful to the court and the legal process. I also view it as a form of witness intimidation and an attempt to influence presentation of evidence in this case. We have moved the tables around. You are now sitting in a chair that does not rock or swivel. You will be directly facing the bench, and you will be more in my line of sight. You've already heard one juror submitted a question regarding his observation of your conduct. If that conduct occurs again, it would be a violation of the decorum I expect in this case. I could simply have a bolt installed on the underside of the table and have your hands cuffed to that bolt. You wouldn't be able to use your hands. The jury wouldn't be able to see the handcuffs.
I feel like they should bolt her down to the floor, just like on all floors. Yeah, come on, people. You gotta wait. Leticia's dancing deserves a like. Yes, it does. It does deserve a like. All right, so that's what I had lined up. Yeah, I want her bolted too. The judge threatened it several times. He hasn't done it yet. And I was really thinking that was going to happen. At one point after this speech, when the jury arrived into the courtroom, she didn't stand up. So I thought maybe they had bolted her down to the chair. So, and now her hair is up. She's not able to hide in the corner like she was. Her hair is up, so she's not able to hide in her hair. And so she's just forced to sit there. Although someone had said that yesterday, maybe a bailiff came over and told her to sit up because she was kind of sleeping at the table. You second chaining her down. Yes, I do too. I'm waiting for court to come up. It's not quite time yet. I keep watching my monitors, but not up yet. So I am going to throw up her interrogation video for anybody who's new and hasn't seen this. So this is the first time she's brought into the police department. It's not really an interrogation. She's brought in for questioning. She's there voluntarily. However, after the end of 3 or 5 hours, I don't know, it's a ridiculous number of hours, she's told that she's not free to leave. And so she's sitting there and she says she's trying to get out of the room as much as she can, saying that she is has to go to the bathroom or wants to go to the hospital or wants to take a shower. She's come up with a bunch of different reasons. And they say, no, you go ahead, just sit tight. They took her phone from her. And this is what we get. That's her in the top right corner on the TV screen.
I just accidentally peed a little.
So there she goes. Apparently she peed a little. She's cleaning herself up.
I accidentally peed a little. No, you didn't.
But what was interesting about this, she goes on for a bit and argues with some people and wants to go and stuff. There's a lot of downtime. So I'll
Now my
talk during
pants are
it.
wet.
Now my pants are wet. Oh God.
Ew.
Just gross. So she's in the interrogation with the FBI agent a month later. And she does the same thing. She pees herself again with the FBI agent. Right, exactly. Feral housewife. Accidentally? I don't think so.
Oh.
You just happen to do it twice? No, that was not accidental. She's so gross.
Yes.
When you gotta go, you gotta go. Yeah, right? I would too. I agree. I would have more respect for her insanity claim if she dropped her pants and shit on the floor. Yeah, no, I think I'm right there with you. Yeah, it was right at the end. It was right towards the end. Actually, Feral Housewife, I believe, caught it and then informed me and the rest of the chat of it. But yes, she did. And let me know if I'm wrong, Feral. Okay, I'm going to step it up a touch because she just kind of sits there and talks to herself for a second.
Sits in her
She's
pee.
doing her hair. She's also taken off her jacket and put it around her waist, because that dries your pants. Yeah, that and murder, of course. She's genius.
She's ridiculous.
No longer potty trained equals insane. All right, hang on. So this is how, by the way, before she was, before the whole flipping off everybody and the judge moved her, that's how she was sitting. And she would always like turn and kind of cower against the wall. And that was how she was for like the first 2 weeks until everyone spotted her flipping off the witnesses. You think they let her pee at the FBI interview? Pee herself?
Maybe go to the bathroom. I don't know.
Yeah, we could have blurred that part though, just get the essence of it instead of actually seeing it.
Yeah. No one wants to see it, but yeah.
When is it? They sit there for a long time. It's interesting to watch people when they have nothing to do. She doesn't do handstands or cartwheels.
Mm-hmm.
Alluring.
There we go.
Okay. I mean, I haven't taken it, so it's like taking me off of it because I couldn't get to it yesterday. I do. I've had zero anxiety since I was 16. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. So I
think that was an accidentally getting it right lie. I've had anxiety since I was 16 because that's what the medical lady just testified to. Okay, so did she not pee herself in the FBI room? I thought she did. So she couldn't go to the bathroom unless they went to make sure that she didn't clean herself. Yes, that was this one. And then, yeah, and she would hide behind the computer monitor. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. I was trying to get to Feral Housewives. Okay. So you got to let me know. Did she actually go in the room or did they let her go? Because I thought she went in the room.
Started making accusations
with the FBI.
Well, I'm sure that wasn't his intention. That really wasn't never his intention, but I didn't come on interview. Have I came at you been disrespectful to you? No, and I hope that you don't feel like I've been disrespectful to you either. That was very
That's
unprofessional.
Disappointing.
What you did.
I don't think so. I told you we were going to call medical. That's
not what you said. That's not what you said.
No, that's correct, and it's on recording.
But that is not what you said. You started making up reasons why when I do have testing. Okay. Well, I believe that you have something. So, like I said, if you would like medical attention, then we can get you medical attention. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That's what he told me to getting. And he told me to sit back down and shut the
I'll
door.
sit here with her if you want to.
Thank you. Just leave the door. That's all I'm asking. Want the door open.
Yeah, she's
So,
really whiny and she
we'll get-
can't handle a lot of things
Come
until
check you
court.
out.
And
Do you
we're
have
all
any
like,
kind
oh,
of-
you know, she seems to be doing
Other
pretty
than
good
the
in court.
Anxiety disorder.
But then when you watch
do
her,
you have
she's
any other
not.
medical
She's
conditions that we should be
hiding,
aware of?
acting weird. The
just
second day of
hungry,
trial, the
tired,
jury
and
passed a note
okay.
to the judge
I
saying,
feel
can we
like there's a
consider all of
hint
her
of that.
weird actions she's doing over there?
So, I mean, I gave you a
And,
and earlier. Is there something else that I can
yeah,
get for
so
you? Do
she
you
really
want a
can't handle
sandwich?
herself
Do
at
you
all.
want I have burrito? I have tamales. We have all kinds of stuff here. We can order something if there's something that you need to eat. But you just got to tell me what it is.
Okay,
Would you
so
like?
now I'm
I mean,
even more
obviously, I'm not
confused.
gonna buy lobster.
Her FBI boyfriend
you know,
said that's what happened
but
when they went
what would
into
you
the
like to eat?
hallway.
First, I would like to.
Said that he was going to
you-
take her to the
you could-
bathroom or
you
that
could,
she
like, help
went
me
to
with
the
anxiety
bathroom.
medicine.
You need somebody to bring in your anxiety medicine.
Like,
I have anxiety medicine here.
yeah,
So
I'm saying you said you could call medical professionals.
sure, I can call like
Exactly.
an
Yes,
EMT,
this
like,
woman
they're
got
gonna
trophies for
call
doing the
EMT,
wrong things
but
so
they're
many
not gonna be
times in
able
her
to
life.
dispense medication to you. If you have a prescription, I mean, maybe your husband can bring it and we can get you your medication. You can self-administer what you already have prescribed to you.
Sorry, I'm right here.
Huh?
My throat is swollen now. When all I asked was for the door to be opened.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's open.
I know, but he was very like rude about it. So could I please read? That's all.
She got hot pockets
Well,
during this
maybe
police
you
interview.
two Y'all's personalities don't click. You know, sometimes it happens.
But come on, I'm a human being. It's the door. Clearly, I'm not going anywhere. The door. Fine, open the door. That's all I ask.
Well, it's open now, so we
Yes,
can-
I appreciate you saying.
Oh, okay. I read you wrong. That's what it was then. All right. All right. I was excited for, two on purpose, accidents.
You know, if there's anybody at your house that can bring your medication.
Sorry. My medication is not at my house.
Hot
Probably
pockets.
Hurry up, Agnes.
because book bag. So yeah, it's probably in my book bag.
That's disappointing. I wish he would have just made her sit there. So
I
she
don't
could do that again.
remember because you guys took my phone.
Well, if you want to tell
What
us
music? I'll
your
play some more of
passcode, we
it.
can get the number out of the phone. If that's
You
what
guys
gonna do.
already had the passcode because I told you plainly earlier when you were here about something. I said the code for, I think it's the same password we use for everything. Oh.
I don't know what that.
I was building up my
If
hopes
you
too.
want
I
me to
thought
get your
she had
friend's phone number
urinated twice.
out of your phone,
So
if
I
you
was
wanna give me the
excited about
passcode,
that.
then I can.
But you said medical. By the time my friend would get here, medical people could.
But they're not going to be able to dispense medication.
You're crushed, David. You're
I
crushed.
know. I know.
Like the
So
EMT's
I
not
feel
gonna be
like
able to
this is
dispense
like the
medication.
room they take families into
Yeah,
or like
because
children when
there's
they're
a facility
questioning
I
them
can't
about
get
things.
you
This is
nothing.
not
No,
like
that's not
the
what I'm saying at all. I'm
interrogation
saying
room where
they're
they get
calling
you
for
to
medical
confess.
personnel,
But
it's going to be an
it
EMT.
still could be.
You're telling me you're
I just don't think
testing
they're bringing
are
violent
anxiety
people in.
related, and I'm trying to offer a
Right.
Be
guy
throwing the
to get
chairs.
your prescribed medication for that issue.
Did you not see this morning, Amanda?
No.
We had some fun this morning. We saw Dancing Letecia at a nightclub.
Oh gosh, yeah, she missed that.
Where is it?
Do you have any like?
Dancing Letecia.
You know, some people, whenever they have anxiety attacks and stuff like that, they have like, little like,
Hey, y'all crazy bitch, but you're so good I'm on top of it when I dream. I'm doing you all night, scratches all down my back to keep me right on. Hey, y'all crazy bitch, but you're so good I'm on top of it when I dream. I'm doing you all night, scratches all down my back to keep me right on.
So that was Dancing Letecia.
I would
For
fight.
those who
for
missed
to
it.
kind of help calm their mind, calm their anxiety. Do you have anything like that? Maybe like a favorite vacation that you've been on?
Now we're just rewatching. Right now we're rewatching her first police interview where she had her accident and then had her panic attack. I'm just trying to get up to her panic attack while we're waiting for court to start. So now she's laying down because she's shortness of breath, and now all of a sudden she can't talk either.
There.
Here we are. That's all fair. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
I am campaign medical fire department. What's going on?
I have a little bit of
Whitest
chest pain.
dance moves ever.
Right, just like-
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen me dance
You know,
yet.
I just try to get them to open the door so I can breathe.
Especially
But
if you're yelling shots and such a white
Well, the
I
original.
didn't have
yeah.
like I took a resident, so I don't know if they might be anxiety related, but I don't know.
Check it.
I thought the original was boring.
I
I had to
had
spice it up.
anxiety since I was like, if I was 16.
You just picked the last meeting.
So I'm kind of hinting at this in the
But I
chat
had
too,
taken
because
it
people were
like a few
asking
days
why
ago.
he stuck with her for so long. And I think it had to do something with this. And there was some testimony with FBI about some threesomes, which I don't think necessarily happened, but there could be, something like that going on. That was kind of my thought. She had to have had to offer something.
Ugh, gross.
Junie, you just want me to show your video. Junie B had a competition with Letecia in the dance move. So we were voting on who danced better, Letecia or Junie B. And that was Junie B in the blue, by the way. Brandon said that in 90210. I never watched that show.
So I found
It's the best show ever.
You can lay back if you're more comfortable. Okay. We have chest pain right now.
Yep.
What does it feel like?
Right now it's going up more and more.
What does it feel like? Is it a stabbing pain? Is it a pressure?
No, it's like pressure.
Pressure. Okay.
Pressure. Is any of this consistent with an
Not
anxiety
even?
attack, by the way?
That's
People
not
that
like
have had it.
breath.
Well, I could breathe in here, and I kept asking them could they open the door so I could breathe.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I've never had one. At least no one's told me that I have.
My best friend had
activity of your heart there.
very crazy. You can't breathe. You can't-
Anxiety.
Any other one? I mean, like dealing with that area or in general? In general?
Do you have any other?
The lady that's
medical
with her is
Okay.
currently the actress
like it.
playing on oh god, what's that show? Oh, the British show, the soccer show. Anyways, that's who she looks like. God, why can't I think of that? What's the name of the show? The American football player goes to England and coaches a soccer team. Somebody put it in there. I watch it like every week. Anyways, that's who she looks like to me.
Pressure.
Yeah, like asthma,
Asthma.
but not those other ones that you
Do
say.
you have any other diagnosed medical history from a doctor?
So diagnosed, no.
Okay. Do you take any medication every day other than the lorazepam we already talked about?
Not every day, no.
What other medicines do you take today?
I don't know what it's called.
What is it for?
Mhm.
Ted Lasso. Oh my god, I watched that freaking week and over. I couldn't think of it. Yes,
Oh, that's what that.
she looks like the blonde, the promotional girl, the one who does all the promotion for the sports clubs. And I don't know her name, but that's what she looks like to me. Ted Lasso. Yes, thank you. Oh my god, I was having an anxiety attack there.
I've never seen that. Show. Looks interesting though.
How old are you?
It's very good. All right, we got a few minutes left until trial starts up again. Remember, we are going to be finishing up
Oh,
direct,
yeah,
most
so
likely with
no.
the state's mental health expert, at least the first one, which is basically she says she's not crazy. That's where we kind of left it off. Is that no, she's not crazy.
35.
Now, what's your date of birth? What day were you born? In what year?
Yeah, like that's what real anxiety.
Good look at your heart, okay?
So is
Yeah.
this a panic attack?
Did I anything wrong? I don't understand.
I think she's panicking because she's in a police station and told she can't leave. But I don't think this is like a panic attack or an anxiety attack or anything.
No, because the biggest thing is because you're trying to breathe.
Yeah.
She's running her mouth like crazy.
Ma'am, I didn't catch your name. Give me your name, please.
She's too calm for a panic attack. That was my thought, but again, I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I'm not either. Just-
Right now.
It's not even hysteria. Yeah, this is just
And when's
BS.
the last time you had problems with your anxiety?
I have it around like whenever I don't eat and
No, now she can't talk. She's slurring her words.
like exercise, different
Right.
routines.
It's mad cow disease.
Alcohol today?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Oh,
Exactly.
That's
Not
awesome.
I'm asking if you drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, like Tylenol.
all right, we're gonna be getting back to court in a minute. I'm gonna pull this down and throw up the court feed. Oh yeah, mad cow disease. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Okay.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's her. That's like a yeah. It's a manipulation thing. It's like what children do when they don't get their way.
Yeah, lost me. She turned into a little something.
We're in front of the camera. Let's move us. But first,
More dancing Letecia.
1358, people versus Letecia Stauch record should reflect the jury is not present in the courtroom. Is there anything we need to take up outside the presence of the jury at this point in time?
Yeah, just briefly, I don't know if it's me having a senior moment or not, but did the court actually qualify Dr. Moore as an expert, or did you just jump right into the instruction? Because
it's actually a good question. Well,
I
he
said
moved
the
for it, but I don't know if
witness
the
will be
judge
so
responded.
qualified, and then I read the instruction.
okay, as long as we're all on the same
He
page.
did ask that the judge recognize her as.
I have a court reporter check if you would like, but I'm pretty sure that that's what I did. And you had offered her as.
Or
an
did he
expert in
stop?
the
He
field
might
of
have
general
stopped
psychiatry
in the
and
middle of his
forensics.
motion and then asked
correct.
for
Well,
more
let's check the record.
of her experience. I can't remember.
Just diagnosed you early on. A little OCD maybe? Well, I accept that diagnosis. Please tell my wife.
Okay, I'm not sure what they're doing, but I'm going to step away real quick and I'll be right back. So, Jamie, it's all you.
Yeah, she's a piece of work, isn't she? I thought they did qualify her.
Court came back on and said, got to hear his evidence or just.
Yeah, I thought they agreed to everything.
You said those were.
I apparently, based on the record, I did not. Now that she read that, I remember that there was an objection, and it had to do primarily not with her qualifications, but with the scope of her testimony regarding giving an opinion on
Everybody.
potentially an ultimate issue to be decided by the jury without going into the bench conference. And so I can just leave it as is. I can tell the jury that she is qualified as an expert in the fields of general psychiatry and general psychology and forensic psychology.
I would prefer that you did that just so the jury hears it, and perhaps you can just say or remind you've been qualified or
I'll
something.
just tell them that it was that we had the bench conference, and I should have said that, and I didn't, and we'll go from there.
Appreciate it, Judge. Thanks.
Okay.
I'll take
Go ahead and bring the jury
back.
I take your diet back.
So do you guys think that the Gannon's mom should testify? I'm curious what everybody thinks. Would you like to hear from her?
It's okay if Dr. Moore resumes the stand.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Dr. Moore, if you would resume your seat in the witness stand, I remind you, ma'am, that you're still under oath. All rise for the jury, please.
I think it would be bad, but I kind of want to hear what she has to say about Keisha and like how she was.
Thank you. You may all be seated. Court will
Okay,
recall 20 CR 1358, People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started this afternoon, I wanted to go back through something that I should have done this morning.
They're zooming in.
It was not clear from the record
So,
whether I did. We
It's a
checked the
court
record,
cam that's
and
normally supposed to be like
what
this
happened
far.
was that the prosecution
they're
offered
zooming in,
Dr.
so that's
Moore
what's going on.
as an expert in the field of general psychology and forensic psychology. And then we had a discussion here at the bench, and I read you an instruction. I did not specifically state that she is qualified to render opinions in those expert fields. She is qualified to render those opinions in those expert fields. I should have said that explicitly before I gave the instruction. My error and my
Is she
oversight.
laughing?
So with that, prosecution.
Thanks, Your Honor. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, Dr. Moore. Before the lunch recess, we were talking about your meeting with Ms. Stauch on March 5th, 2020. Do you recall that?
Yes.
I want to go back to that meeting. Do you remember about how long you met with her that day?
I do not recall exactly the time.
Was it an hour, 2 hours? I don't know.
Most likely it would have been about 30 or 45 minutes.
Okay. During this conversation, did you talk to her about any concerns that she might have with her ability to cope with being incarcerated at the jail?
Yes.
How did she respond to that?
I believe that she was a bit tearful, but generally okay.
And we talked a little bit about her demeanor this morning, but during your entire time
because
with her
they
on March
ultimately
5th, did
qualified her.
demeanor seem to stay the same?
Yes.
Did she mention to you whether or not
They could do
she did this
retroactive
crime when you
qualifications.
asked her that?
I'm going to refer to my notes very quickly, but from what I remember, she said, first, I did not do this.
Okay. And did she elaborate on that?
I believe she did. Let me just double check.
I do have my other channel. It doesn't matter if you
She
subscribe. I put
said-
it up there.
I feel like an animal in a cage and I am innocent.
Okay.
And she also said, I don't belong in a place like this.
I feel like she does.
Did she go on to tell you about her anxiety and her symptoms due to her anxiety?
Yeah, she described having some bad chest pains and inability to breathe and panic attacks. She reported panicking and thinking about people dying and other random thoughts.
Thank you for joining us, Bren.
Did she talk to you about whether or not she was able to manage her anxiety in her everyday life?
She did.
What did she say?
She reported that she typically stays busy and works out and eats healthy food, more fruit as opposed to carbohydrates, just to stay healthy. And manage her anxiety that way.
So technically, any witness can review their notes so long as their notes are used only to refresh their memory and they're not actually testifying directly from them. However, with an expert, it's a little different. They can actually testify to them, and if they made a report, that report could actually be evidence and they could just read it, period. So it's a little different, but every expert can review their notes. What are we laughing at?
Because everybody's just like, she works out. Ooh, like,
Did you ask her about her educational background?
Yes.
What did she say about her education?
Like she was on the Peloton,
She
right?
had a
Yeah.
master's degree in education with a specialty in special education and had a PhD in education from Liberty University.
And did the conversation you were having with her on March 5th, did that give you an indication that she was educated and she was able to respond to your questions appropriately and have a normal conversation?
Yes.
Did you ask her any questions about her family and social support?
Yes.
What did she say about that?
She talked about her daughter and her aunt as her primary social supports.
Payday
She
is the
did
best.
note that she had not talked to her husband in a bit of time as well.
Did she tell you why she hadn't talked to her husband?
She said that he believed that she was guilty.
And did that create anxiety for her, or did she tell you?
no.
I don't believe she told me that, and I don't know that it did.
Okay. And did she tell you how long she was married?
6 years.
Did she tell you how her
You did.
marriage was going prior to her incarceration?
Was I talking?
No, your little banner that says the witness.
I
Oh,
believe that when she was talking to me, she said that
thank you.
she
Look, it's spelled right and everything.
they were having some issues. I believe she didn't want to just kind of be a stay-at-home mom and stepmom. I think she wanted to more so use her education and reported some emotional
Mine was
abuse
used for
in that relationship.
drying rack as well, many years.
Did she talk to you about an incident that occurred as she's being transported to Colorado Springs from South Carolina?
Yes.
What did she tell you about?
She reported
Yeah.
that while she was on her way here, she was sleep deprived due to being in the car for about 19 hours. And she said, I didn't know I was sleepwalking and hadn't been eating. I thought someone was coming for me, so I took the monster can and threw it.
And did you have any independent information with regards to that incident?
Just for background information, when she was being extradited from South Carolina to Colorado, she attacked the officer in the back seat after she worked her way out of the handcuffs with a full monster can and then tried to escape. At no point did she say
Yes.
anything to indicate she didn't know what she was doing. She said she kept like looking at me or trying something. I don't know. It was weird.
What independent information did you have?
During her transport, the information that was shared with me was that she was trying to harm herself with her handcuffs.
Okay. And who shared that information with you?
One of our inmate classification specialists, Deanna Bowman.
And is that because you're trying to figure out if she might be a harm to herself or others? Are you getting information from as much people as you can?
Yes.
Did you talk to her about any history of victimization?
Yes.
How did she respond to that?
She had reported some physical and emotional abuse within dating relationships. Again, the emotional abuse within her marriage.
Did she tell you whether or not she was ever told if she was a good stepmom or not?
She reported that she was told that she was never a good stepmom.
And did she tell you who told her that?
Her husband.
Well, I mean, if you look at the facts.
What else did she tell you about her home life with regards to being a victimized or being a victim?
She was told to just provide love and attention to the children because her husband made a lot of money. And again, she said she did not want to just throw away her doctorate.
Okay. And do you have your notes up there in front of you?
She doesn't have a
Obviously, this has
doctorate.
been over 3 years ago. Is that helping you refresh exactly what she told you and what
Does
you
she
put
not
in
know
your
there's a
notes
way to track
shortly
this?
after this conversation?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask her about her strengths or perhaps her weaknesses?
Yes.
And what did she say about her strengths?
She reported being smart, helping others, and being good at sports.
Did she talk about any concussions that she may have had?
Yes.
What did she say about the concussions?
She received a couple concussions while playing softball.
Did she say whether or not these were serious concussions or minor concussions?
They were minor. Typically, if there's a concussion, we'll ask if there's any sort of history of traumatic brain injury, and none was reported. I asked her if there was any change in behavior or functioning afterward, and she said no.
What are some of the things you might see if someone you're evaluating may have a brain injury?
They could recall forgetting certain words. They might have some lapses in memory, have difficulty completing everyday tasks. So they might not be able to just function as easily. It might take more effort.
Would that be something that would be apparent to you as an expert in psychology? If someone did have a brain injury, for instance, myself, if we're talking, would you notice some kind of signs, perhaps slowness in speech, that kind of thing?
Typically a slurred or slowness in speech, typically getting mad at yourself when you can't recall information that you want to. It's kind of that tip of the tongue phenomenon where the words are right there, but you can't get it out. Those are some things that you would see.
And did you examine her head or look for any injuries to her head?
Typically, when I'm meeting with somebody, I'll look over their entire body, but there was no observable injuries that I noted.
Okay. Did you ask her about any attempts to harm herself in the past?
Yes.
What did she say about that?
I cannot recall off the top of my head. I believe that she initially denied that in this encounter.
Do you remember telling you something about trying to harm herself with handcuffs as she's being transported?
I don't believe she would have been the one that said that. I think that was reported that she was trying to do that, but she did not report that to me.
Okay. And that's my fault. It says per inmate classification.
Yes.
So you're getting that from another deputy?
Yes.
All right. I apologize for that. Did you observe her wrist and see any injuries to her wrist?
I do not recall.
If your notes say that there were no observable markings, would that be accurate?
Yes.
With regards on March 5th, 2020, I don't have page numbers for your notes, so I apologize, but it says 250.
I'm sorry, hang on real quick. Purchased? They were purchased from Liberty University in Virginia. Did she actually earn them, or did she purchase a fake one? I need more detail.
51 p.m.
Probably the second
It's
one.
2:51 p.m. It says patient answered and had linear train of thought. What do you mean when you say that?
A linear train of thought is when somebody's speaking and there's not any gaps in their speech. It was just very kind of straight along a consistent path. So there wasn't any oddities that I noted in her speech or thought.
Okay. And in that same note, you indicate she did not appear to be responding to internal stimuli. No auditory or visual hallucinations were observed.
Correct.
Do you recall making that note?
Yes.
And why do you make that note on March 5th, 2020?
Again, when looking at an overall clinical evaluation, you are going to assess for everything: anxiety, depression, psychotic thought processes. So typically the most common observable signs in a psychotic disorder would be responding to internal stimuli. So there might be a voice in someone's head talking. They might be, again, looking around the room, talking to somebody who is not in the same room. And so I will note that if I do not observe any of those concerns.
Do you also ask her questions like, does she understand what she's being charged with, where she's at, that type of thing?
Yes, so we'll go over, we call it orientation, or a brief mental status exam. And so we'll look at somebody's orientation to person, meaning themselves, place, so where they're currently at, time, if they, in general, they know the current date, month, year. So we will assess for all of that orientation, and then again, kind of why somebody was here. So I would always ask somebody, do you know why you're in the jail? And they would respond.
And how did she respond to those questions?
She was oriented to person, place, time, and situation, and there was no concerns noted with her mental status at that time.
Did you note that she was aware of her charges, where she was and who she was? She was oriented to time.
Yes.
And again, why do you make that note in this particular record?
It is.
Fake diplomas, fake polygraphs, fake vacations, fake absolutely everything about this woman. Fake alibi.
In general, it's just to ensure that somebody is oriented, because if somebody's not, that could be due to a variety of psychiatric illnesses. So we note that to, again, just state somebody's doing fine. There's no concerns noted at that time.
Now, after your March 5th, 2020 interview evaluation with the defendant, what was the game plan? What were you going to do next with her? Did you set up other times to meet with her, or just explain that to the jury?
So typically, as I had mentioned earlier, we had placed her on suicide watch just due to the nature of her crime being a first incarceration. So when somebody's on suicide watch, we see them every day until they come off of suicide watch, and we place them on what's called transition status. So that means that they still have some limited property. There's specialized housing for that. And then we'll do a 24-hour follow-up after somebody comes off suicide watch, a 5-day and a 7-day follow-up. So about kind of a 2-week time frame we'll follow up. So that was the initial plan, to maintain her on suicide watch at that moment, as well as refer her to the psychiatrist for medications. As she had mentioned, she had been taking medication prior to coming to the jail. And then I also placed her on special needs monitoring. And what that is a recurring 30-day follow-up with somebody while they're in custody. And again, I did that just due to the high profile nature. I wanted to make sure that we were providing her adequate follow-up on a relatively frequent basis.
And do you know whether or not the jail would monitor her, especially in the beginning, March 5th, 2020, every few minutes to make sure she's doing okay?
They do. When people are in restrictive housing or in the medical ward, and initially she was placed in the medical ward due to the high profile status, some concerns for her safety. So anybody in restrictive housing is assessed by the deputies on the ward every 15 minutes.
And so if something unusual happened during this 15-minute watch period, would you learn about it and do some follow-up with it?
Yes.
Did anything unusual happen in the beginning of Ms. Stauch's incarceration at the jail?
Not specifically
Perfect use of
that
yada, yada.
day, but there was, within the month of March, there was a couple times that I had been asked to do some follow-up meetings with her.
And we'll get to those once we get to your notes. I do kind of want to jump ahead a little bit. At some point, did you learn that Ms. Stauch was raising competency issues in court?
Yes, I believe that was around the beginning of June.
June 5th, 2020? Sometime after that period, did Ms. Stauch raise a concern that she might have
She raised the insanity earlier than I thought.
Yes.
I know that's not the term that we use in the DSM-5, but on your March 5th, 2020 evaluation, did you see any signs of dissociative identity disorder with Miss Stauch?
No.
And what might you expect to see if she did have that disorder on March 5th, 2020?
I would expect to see somebody that was losing gaps of time. Somebody who would be reporting some concerns like, you know, I don't remember certain historical information, so significant life events like a marriage or a death. Somebody would also be losing gaps of everyday events. So somebody with that disorder might go, let's say, shopping, and they would come back, and if they came back to their main personality at that time or personality state, they would have no idea why they bought things. They typically forget things like how to do their job, use a computer, how to drive. So I would expect somebody in a jail setting to be reporting loss of time and not being able to recall what occurred during those periods of time.
And did you see anything of that, like that, or of that nature on March 5th, 2020?
No.
Did she ever change her voice patterns?
No.
Ever talk in a Hispanic voice?
No.
Ever change her name?
No.
Did you see any signs whatsoever that she wasn't the same person you were talking to at any point
Little
during
Lucia?
that interview?
No.
At any point with your contact with her, did you see any of that?
No.
We're going to come back and talk about that as we progress through your contacts with her, okay?
Yes.
I next want to jump to
be fair, the evidence is pretty fucking crazy.
March 9th, 2020. Did you have some contact with Miss Stauch then?
Yes.
And I wish there was a way to tell you what page number we're on, but there just isn't. This is March 9th at 2:16 p.m. Do you remember talking to her about her mental condition on that day?
I do. Just give me a moment to get there.
Any music?
Okay, I'm there.
Oh,
And so
I need a.
what did she have to
Hard,
say
right.
about how she was doing mentally on March 9th, 2020?
She was a bit irritable due to still remaining on suicide precautions.
Did she, I get, during your entire contacts with
Well,
Miss
then we're all
Stauch,
crazy, I
did
suppose.
she tend to ramble a little bit and talk?
Yes, sometimes she would just say things that I didn't ask about, and again, in a jail setting, it's as a therapist or psychologist, want to provide a lot of care, but also want to limit what is asked about based on not trying to become involved in her charges. So sometimes we'll ask about things, but again, trying to limit what is specifically asked. But there were times that she would kind of blurt out information that was more case related.
And did she do that on March 9th, 2020?
Shocker.
It might be easier if I just show you the
Yes.
note I'm looking at, if I can approach.
It's fine. Yes.
Okay. So,
Can I, since there's no
Yeah,
page
absolutely,
numbers,
yeah.
can I look so I know what you're reading from?
God. Well,
Wow.
perk up.
So this is, someone was asking earlier in the chat whether or not they could read notes. Yeah, this is a perfect example of it. The other side has to have it.
so on March 9th,
And not a problem.
what did she tell you about Whether
It
or
would
not
be
she had
amazing if
control
she
of her
took the
brain.
stand.
Do you see that in your notes anywhere?
Yes, she said, I have control of my brain, and she wanted to be an advocate for herself.
And where did that come from? Did you ask that question or is she just volunteering that to you?
Just volunteered it.
And you
She's
see in your notes a
anticipating
little
what
lower
everyone
there
is
where it
going to ask.
says, she said, mentally, I'm fine.
Yes, she said, mentally, I'm fine. I'm not guilty. The truth will come out.
And so where did that come from? Were you asking about the case or is she just volunteering information?
Just volunteering information.
Did you actually tell her about her charges and whether or not she should talk about them?
I did encourage her not to talk about her charges with anybody at the jail, whether that be deputies, other inmates, mental health staff, and instead that she should just
It's
be
not up
talking
to her attorneys. It's up to
attorneys
her.
about her charges.
And remember, she wanted to
And
represent
Just
herself.
for the jury's benefit, normally these notes would never become part
That
of
would
the
have been
case
great.
unless
It's a very real
there's some
possibility that she
completion
takes
of
the
case
stand.
and Feeling an insanity plea or something like that. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Let's
So
just hope.
normally your notes would not come to the prosecution. You would not be testifying in a murder trial unless there's some relevancy to it. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. And you probably never testified in front of a jury before, right?
A couple times, but
Okay.
not very often.
These guys are nice guys. Look at them. It's a good group that is over there, isn't it? All right. So what did you do when she told you all this?
That
Did
is a
anything
major
change
no-no.
with
She's
her
very-
situation or how often you would meet with her?
I discontinued what we call a red sheet and began a yellow sheet. So a red sheet is, they're both forms of suicide watch, but a red sheet, they just have limited property. So not even a book or a cup in their cell. They'll be able to be given water, but they can't use those things because they could hurt themselves or cover up windows with them. So a yellow sheet, they just get a little bit more freedom. So book, cup, potentially a pencil, things like that they can have.
And I guess, I think I understand what you're saying. If he's progressing, if there's such a term as normally through the jail setting,
Yes,
now that she's been there a few days, and
yes,
so you're lowering the level of suicide watch, for lack of a better term?
yes.
Okay. And is that based on what she's telling you?
Partially that, as well as not evidencing any self-harm or suicidal ideation. So she's not saying, I want to hurt myself or kill myself. She's not reporting hopelessness. So generally just seems to be a bit safe.
So up until now, is she progressing just like, again, I don't know if normal is the right word to use, but a normal person who's been charged with first-degree murder, you get booked into the jail, the suicide watch is going to be high until there's a reason to lower it. Is that fair?
Yes,
Is that what's going on with Ms. Stauch at this time?
yes.
Okay. I'm going to jump to March 12th now. And let me just ask you if you remember her telling you anything about having a photographic memory.
She did.
What was that all about? Do you remember?
Again, just something that she reported without asking about it. She said she has a photographical memory and is acutely aware of all of the things that she sees and hears.
Is that consistent so far of what she's been talking to you about up until this date?
Yes.
March 13th, you had another visit with her. Do you recall that one?
Yes.
And do you recall having a note about thought content with regards to Ms. Stauch on that date? You see that one?
Thought content was appropriate, no significant mental health symptoms noted. She did not appear anxious at this time. She denied suicidal and homicidal ideation, and no psychotic functioning was noted.
So up until this point, we have no psychotic or psychosis visible to you. Really no mental illness other than her general anxiety that she's talked to you about?
Correct.
And certainly no dissociated identity disorder up to this point?
Interject to leading.
Sustained. You can rephrase.
Did you see any signs of mental illness up until this point?
No.
If you would have noted that?
That's like
Yes.
the fourth
Would you
objection
begin
in this
treatment for
entire
that
trial.
mental illness?
Yes.
55 witnesses, 4 objections.
So March 15th, you have another visit with her. Actually, that's Nicole Reed. Do you know who Nicole Reed is?
She was one of our nurses. She did history and physical assessments. So typically about 2 weeks after people are booked into the jail, they will have another medical assessment just to make sure still everything's okay. There's no other medical or mental health concerns noted.
And so would you rely on her notes that she puts into the system in your evaluation of Ms. Stauch?
Yes.
What does she say happens on March 15th regarding a chronic mental health problem with Ms. Stauch?
I will have to refresh my memory on that.
And I can, if you don't have those notes, I can approach with them. It's March 15th at 8:52 a.m.
Sure. She said regarding a chronic mental health problem, patient has a history of mental health concerns. However, when asking patient today, she denies any mental health issues or concerns at this time.
And is that consistent with what you have seen up until this point?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say the cross-examination on this witness should be extensive because this is their whole defense. And if it's not, then we're, maybe ineffective assistance of counsel kind of territory.
Now I want to jump to March 16th.
Not yet.
Where you actually meet with Ms. Stauch.
Going
again.
through
Do you
the
remember that?
observations
Yes.
at this point.
Tell us about what you found with regards to what her mental condition was on that day.
I noted that everything was appropriate. So her mood was appropriate. Her thought was coherent. She had no suicidal, homicidal ideations, no auditory or visual hallucinations. She was oriented to person, place, time, and situation, had an intact memory, fair judgment, good insight.
Any evidence of mental illness up until this point?
No.
Let's jump to March 20th of 2020. Do you recall seeing her on that day?
They're
Yes.
basically establishing she doesn't
And
have
I
any.
see a note on that day at 6:27 p.m. It says reason for referral, subject findings. You see that?
Yes.
Tell us about that. Why did you put that note in there and what is that note about?
So the deputies had asked me to follow up with her because that was the day that we were informed that Gannon's body was found in Florida. And so they wanted me to check in with her because that is a significant event in anybody's life. And so they wanted me to check in and follow up with her.
Were you, as far as you know, the first person to tell her that Gannon's body was discovered?
I believe so.
And how did she respond when you told her?
She was a bit tearful, a little bit overwhelmed at that time.
Okay. What did she say?
She had noted that she did not have anyone to talk to in the jail. She had wanted to call her mother, she was talking also about losing some time out of her cell previously that week. So she essentially was asking to call her mom.
Okay. Did you tell her that you were there for her if she wanted to talk and provide mental health counseling?
Yes. So
Go ahead.
again, in this situation, given the charges that she was booked into the jail for, I didn't want to talk to her about the charges, but her being a stepmother and losing a child, I wanted to assess her for grief and see if she was okay in that situation. So I did try to explain to her, I don't want to talk about the charges related to that. Just make sure you're okay, as a grieving stepmom.
Did you tell her where Gannon's body was found?
No.
If you can refer to your note, did she tell you where Gannon's body was found?
She said that she was never in Florida and said that that's where his body was found.
So I'm sorry, but just so I'm clear, did you tell her that Gannon's body was found? Did she respond, Gannon's body was found in Florida? Or how
Yes.
did that go?
So I would have gone up to her and just let her know that his body, that obviously that he had passed, because previous to that he was alleged to be missing. So now that he was confirmed to have not been alive, I don't believe that I said that he was in Florida.
And did she tell you whether or not she had even ever been to Florida?
Yes, she said that she was never in Florida.
Did her demeanor change during this conversation?
She was speaking a bit softer than my prior contacts with her.
So she anticipated a connection and said, I've never been to Florida, even though there's no logical way for anyone to have asked her if she was in Florida.
Your volume's really low.
Oh my God. Okay. So I just wondering what I missed. Did she say that she was in Florida when in reality there was no reason for anyone to even wonder if she was? Is that
I was
what
just
happened?
going to ask that because what I heard her say is that she told her that Gannon was found, but she said, I was never in Florida. And I think he insinuated that they never mentioned he was found in Florida, that she just offered up that information.
I'm going to back it up a few seconds if
Yeah.
nobody minds. I had a stupid phone call.
The charges related to that, just make sure you're okay, as a grieving stepmom.
Did you tell her where Gannon's body was found?
No.
If you can refer to your note, did she tell you where Gannon's body was found?
She said that she was never in Florida and said that that's where his body was found.
So I'm sorry, but just so I'm clear, did you tell her that Gannon's body was found? Did she respond, Gannon's body was found in Florida? Or how
Yes.
did that go?
So I would have gone up to her and just let her know that his body, that obviously that he had passed, because previous to that he was alleged to be missing. So now that he was confirmed to have not been alive.
She was arrested in South Carolina.
I don't believe that I said that he was in Florida.
And did she tell you whether or not she had even ever been to Florida?
Yes, she said that she was never in Florida.
So is that that's what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, this is the police. We want to just talk to you for a few things. You're like, I've never seen that woman. And they're like, well, what woman are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's bad.
Okay.
That's bad. It's kind of implicating yourself. That's what I thought I missed. Interesting.
Demeanor change during this conversation?
She was speaking a bit softer than.
I will say this. Let me comment on Bye Friends. We're assuming what this woman is testifying to is exactly what happened. There's no recording of this. And I don't put it past people to maybe not lie on the reports, but forget that she said the word Florida, that Gannon was found in Florida, and then she forgot she said in Florida and didn't put that in her notes. It's very possible that she did it unintentionally.
My prior contacts with her.
Would this be evidence of a mental illness, or would this be evidence of a normal reaction of all what you just told me?
It would be more evident of a normal but kind of limited reaction to hearing that information.
Okay. Did you have further conversations with her about her emotional status after you told her about Gannon's death?
I believe that I reviewed kind of some of the generic stages of grief and loss, what emotions might come up from being informed of the loss of a child, and that she could reach out if she had any further concerns about it.
What were you gonna say, Jamie?
His comment. I was thinking the same thing because she kind of goes, well, I don't remember saying Florida. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and it's like, well, did you though? I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, this defendant is not the smartest, but she's
No.
not that dumb either. So I don't know.
We'll see.
And again, up until this point, any evidence whatsoever that she had dissociative identity disorder?
No.
I want to jump ahead to April 20th. Did you meet with her on April 20th?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And tell us about that. Was this, how often are you meeting her at this point and why?
So at this point in time, and I apologize, I forgot to mention earlier, also when people are in restrictive housing or segregated housing, we do weekly follow-ups as well. So every week that they're in restrictive housing, we do a weekly follow-up. So that was the intent of this contact.
Okay. Tell us about that contact. You have that there?
Yes.
Okay, so it's really easy. So Florida is the dingle, and South Carolina is like the belly button of the U.S. Just so you know. Responding to broken bakers.
Looks like she, again, had a normal reported mental status. Her everything was reality-based. She was engaging and cooperative. I did have to speak with her through the door because there was only one deputy on the ward at that time. She reported having some body jerks and that she had been hitting her foot at night and elbow on the wall. She had reported some nightmares, reported having some bruising on her ankles, and then unpromptedly talked about the transport back to Colorado again.
And is this the one you talked about earlier?
Yes.
What did she say this time happened on her way back from South Carolina to Colorado Springs?
She attributed to her behavior to a lack of sleep. She also she said that being in the medical ward was not healthy for her due to poor sleep. She then said she talked about the female deputy was holding her gun in the wrong place. She told the deputy that a few times, and she threw the monster can at her as she believed she was being attacked.
Did she say why she brings this up to you, or what prompted this discussion?
I believe it was prompted due to her initially saying that the transport-related behavior was due to poor sleep, and we were talking about sleep at that time.
Did that incident?
I don't remember if they talked
impact
about
her
medication that she was
status
on
in
at the
jail?
time.
In other words, her security status based on what happened on the transport back from South Carolina?
Yes.
Did she seem to want to, well, was she trying to lessen that restrictive status based on that?
Yes. Again, being in the medical ward is not, it can get a bit loud there. So most people don't want to stay down there, and the lights do have to stay on all night. And so it is consistent with somebody having some poor sleep, because our circadian rhythms or sleep-wake cycles, we tend to prefer to sleep when it's dark and stay awake when it's light. So she wanted to be moved out of the medical ward. And she had also mentioned that she felt she was continuing to be kept in the medical ward because that we'll think that she's crazy and make her take medication.
Was she taking any medication other than what she had for the general anxiety?
No.
Did she ask you to do something about getting her out of the medical ward?
I believe so. I think she had wanted me to talk to the deputies about it.
Do you have any control over that?
I don't. In the jail, we do weekly meetings to assess everybody in restrictive housing. So, and again, anybody who might be more high profile. So we do talk about those individuals every week. But due to the safety and potential concerns for escape and her safety and things like that, it was determined for her to remain in restrictive housing and in the medical ward. Again, safety and security will trump most things in the jail setting. So although I might make an opinion, I'm not ultimately the one that gets to make that final say.
Did this continue on up until the point she was transferred out of the medical ward?
Yes.
Was it pretty consistent on April 28th? Did she bring it up again and complain about the light being on, that type of thing?
Yes.
I want to jump ahead to May 12th now. And this is a note that you have with regards to May 12th at 5:46 p.m. It's just below the one that says report evidence of suicidal thoughts where you say no.
Yes.
Was there a point in time where she said, I can't talk to you anymore?
Yes.
What was that about?
I believe that her attorneys had recommended that she not speak to the mental health staff in the jail. She specifically said to me, I still can't talk to you because you can be subpoenaed.
And what happened to your treatment of the defendant after she said she didn't want to talk to you?
Typically, we're going to respect their wishes. We're going to always offer. So anytime we have a scheduled contact, we will still offer to talk to her. And if she wants to decline, or any patient or inmate in the jail wants to decline, they absolutely have that right, and we'll respect that.
And did she tell you who was telling her not to talk to you?
I don't know that she said it specifically, but it was my understanding that it was due to her contacts with her attorney.
Okay.
I'm confused. Is MapQuest still a thing? Does it exist?
Yes.
Does it? Okay. I know Apple Maps and Google Maps.
I use it at work sometimes. And I was like,
I go to Ask Jeeves too.
Now I want to jump forward to June 5th of 2020. Earlier, we talked about whether or not at some point she was raising her competency report. Is that when this occurs, on June 5th, 2020?
Yes.
And did you have contact with her on June 5th, 2020?
Yes.
What was the reason for that contact? And tell the jury
I'm
about it.
searching for Ask Jeeves.
So that contact was the mental health special needs progress notes. So as I had told you, we have them scheduled every 30 days for that routine follow-up. So that was the reason that I had went to talk to her that day. I talked to her for about 30 minutes.
It still exists.
That day, she said that she had been unintentionally hitting her head, but denied any suicidal ideation at that time. She said she tried to walk through the door because she thought she was at home. She reported seeing pictures of her daughter and thinking about and missing her dogs. She said that her contact with Harley had decreased a little bit, and she was upset about not being able to be there for her daughter. She said that being in the jail and experiencing loss was just exacerbating her traumatic stress.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Does she go into details about this traumatic stress that she's talking about?
Yes.
What did she say?
She reported being molested at age 14, the loss of her husband, the loss of her son, loss of her licensure, loss of freedom, and loss of another family member.
Now, is this the first time during your entire contact with her at the jail that she brings up about being molested?
Yes.
I don't think that question was asked of Harley when she was on the stand.
How did that come about? When she talks about traumatic stress, is this a question that you're asking her, or is this something that she, again, is just rambling about and telling you things?
That's what she had reported to me. Yes.
So that wasn't in response to any questions from you. That was just something she felt you needed to know?
Yes. I typically, when I go up to talk to somebody, I say, hi, Mr. or Miss So-and-so, how are you today? And then sometimes they just report a lot. And then I'll go into the other questions related to my notes after that.
And so at this point, June 5th, 2020, was she still in the medical ward?
I believe so.
If your notes indicate that she requested to go back to the medical ward.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Would that refresh your recollection as to where she's at now?
She would have been in Alpha 2, which is our female restrictive housing ward.
Okay. Is that like a general population or what is that?
No, it's segregated housing. So typically, we'll have people that have severe and persistent mental illness that are that are self-harming in that ward, people that are trying to hurt other people in that ward, and then other people who are in there for disciplinary segregation reasons. So they're individuals who really can't come out with other people, and they typically come out individually 1 hour at a time.
And so back in the earlier dates, April, May, she wanted to get out of the medical ward.
Yes.
She's out now. And then on June 5th, the same day she raises competency, she wants to go back to the medical ward.
Yes.
And what happened as a result of her request?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I don't know if we moved her back or not.
Do you remember her talking to you about her going to the state hospital or Colorado Mental Health Institute of Pueblo for the competency evaluation?
Not, well, during this contact, we talked about her going for a competency evaluation, but she had not yet gone, to my knowledge.
Did she have any anxiety with regards to going to the Colorado Mental Health Institute?
I think she had general
We
anxieties.
got
I don't
our
know if it was
hands
specific.
on communications between this defendant and Daryl Brooks. We would dramatically reenact them. Jamie could play Leticia's part.
Oh,
Brooks'
God,
part.
yeah.
That would be awesome.
About going
Find these
there for
documents.
the evaluation, but she wasn't.
I'd even be open to a little fan fiction.
I know she did say she was asking if she should start taking medications now or wait till she goes to the state hospital to get prescribed medication there.
Do you recall ever? Well, do you recall her talking to you?
Oh, that's right. We have multiple personalities. So yeah, Mo, you could be a little Letecia or Lucia.
She had reported that
Jenny B. Jones is going to be Angel.
it was, I believe she had said something to the effect of it being kind of too hard to handle all the stressors at one time.
And did she get into the events surrounding Gannon's death during this June 5th, 2020 meeting?
Presumably, yes.
Did she talk
They
about a
have the right
hiking
contact
trip?
information.
Yes.
What'd she say about a hiking trip?
She said she always used to take a handgun with her hiking, but did not that day. She said, I can't cope with it. It's one trauma situation too many, and it was the wrong place at the wrong time. She said she replays that week of her life over and over. She also noted she replays why she did not ask for more help or provide more information to the police. And she's now trying to begin really processing it, meaning the law, meaning Gannon.
Okay.
She said, I need to be able to talk to someone more than a social worker. She said, I was creating stories that aren't true and don't remember conversations. She then said, I need more help. She also said, I can't leave January. And then she brought up Andrew Womack and his son dying in Colorado and coming back to life 8 hours later. She said,
no, what this doctor testified to is that pursuant to her attorney's recommendation, the doctor wasn't allowed to talk to certain people. Not the
regarding Gannon,
or
I know that's not physically possible, but I want to fix things. I pray his same prayers and wrote him a letter. Then she said she regretted taking the back road off 25. That's Highway 25. She then said, I can't relive every situation, every day, and every hour.
Okay. Now, how did this come about? I mean, what did you say to spark her to talk about instead?
We probably were talking just about the stress because again, when I talk to somebody and ask them how they're doing, they just kind of